Hello everyone and welcome back to the studio here in Northumberland on its very grey day, it's got to be said. And I've just come back from France last week where it was baking hot, and today I'm going to paint a lovely picture of Northumberland. Hadrian's Wall to be precise, or part of Hadrian's Wall. It's just fabulous up there. And you'll notice on the paper I've just put tape on the top and the bottom. And what I'll do when I do the drawing, I'll come across as far as I want either side, and then I'll tape off the sides. And speaking about being in France last week and tape, that brings me to another subject. There was a chap on the French holiday with me, and I say a chap because no names will be mentioned, but you know who you are, Phil Hughes. And he got tape like that and cut it in half. And I said, why have you done that? He said, because I've got 2 lots of tape now. He said it only took 3.5 hours. Well, Phil, they're £2.50 a reel. Buy yourself some tape. They're on my e-shop. Honestly. And he was really proud of this as well, and he told one of the ladies on the course, and you can reactivate the tape if it's really old by putting it in the microwave for a few seconds. Honestly, a roll of tape. Phil, be ashamed of yourself. Now, to this one, and today I've got a screw fit pencil, and I'm starting off up here. And this is just a wiggly line to indicate where the top of the wall's going, like so. And then I'm going down, and it kind of disappears about there. I have some grass underneath that. Hadrian's Wall is not as tall as you think it is. It's just like a very big dry stone wall, really. But fabulous. Grass is coming up here and I'll disappear it there. Now it reappears about here. And there you're seeing the top of the wall as it goes upwards. And then curls around on itself and disappears on the top there. Bit down here. And some grass underneath it there. And I'll have some grass going across there as well to show the cut-off point once I put the paint on it. Now I've got a hill coming off here. And going across there, and a little bit of a hill on the top there. And then here, a little bit of hill coming out there, and then trees on top. Of course, the really famous tree on Hadrian's Wall is the one that they used in that film, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I think it was. More trees there, and a bit of a clump disappearing there, above that. And then grass underneath that. And now for the distance. A bit in here, not too high, a little bit there. And coming across here. All the way out there. And in between this lot, I'm going to have some fields and distant trees and stuff going on, but I don't want to make too much of it in the drawing. I'll do it with the painting. I've got a couple of big rocks here. And another one there, another clump there. And we'll, in the painting, I'm not going to draw them all, but in the painting we'll have some grasses amongst that lot as well. And that's it really, the drawing's done. The rest I'll do with the paintbrush. And now you see, I've taken the size off. That's the size of the painting. So for the sky wash, first of all, as usual, loads and loads of water going from the top, and I'm going all the way down to those distant hills. Loads of water. At this stage you really can't put too much on. Just put plenty on. Give yourself the time to move the paint around. I'm starting off with a little bit of yellow ochre. Plenty of water into this. Like so. Then a little bit of light red above the yellow ochre. Oops, that's not strong enough. There, that's better. Red coming in there, and I'm going to take that down into the yellow ochre, and again mop up. Now ultramarine blue and light red mixed in the top there. Knock that down a little bit. You see what I mean? The more water you've got on here, the more time you've got to move the paint around. I'm just going to go a little bit darker up there. Yeah, that's better. There. And again, wash out, squeeze out, and mop up. Now, very simply, all I'm doing, look, is wash the brush out, squeeze it out between my fingers, and take some paint out there. Wash out again. Keep washing out between clouds. That way you're taking paint out rather than just moving it around. And again, I'm going to make that one a little bit bigger. That's better. And that's a very simple sky. Easily done. And just let it dry. A final mop up. There you go. Now, the sky is more or less dry. A little bit damp on the bottom, but dry enough. So what I've got again, ultramarine blue and light red. And plenty of water into this. A bit more light red. That's better. Loads of water into it. And I'm just filling in those distant hills across there. I'm not fiddling with these or messing about. Just block them in. They're a long way off. You don't want detail in them. I've just put a little bit more water in it as well. I'm using my 3/4 inch wash brush for that, 3/4 inch flat brush. It's easy to fill in with that. And all the way across. You notice how much water these brushes hold. That's one dip, all of that. All the way across there. And then a little bit over this side as well. Again, still the same dip of paint. There, that's the distant hills done, no fiddling. Apart from, I'm going to take out a little bit of light here and there. So I'm just washing the brush out, squeeze it out, and just take a few touches out here and there, just to give the impression of a bit of movement on the hills. There you go, look. A little bit there. sucking page out. A bit over here. That'll do. Now, coming further forward, there's a lot of land with trees and fields and stuff in the far distance, in between here and the wall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with a little bit of light red. Incidentally, Hadrian's Wall, for those of you that are not from the UK, and I said that because Gail told me to say it was built by the Romans, and it was a barrier between Scotland and England. Bit of a waste of time, really, because, of course, centuries later, someone built the A1. So it was all fairly useless. There. That's just light red. Now, a touch of yellow ochre. Drop some of that here and there. None of these colours want to be too strong. It's all a long way off. No, I don't want any. Yeah, I do. A yellow ochre there. Now, Hooker's green and yellow ochre. It's a touch of Hooker's green to a lot of yellow ochre there. Plenty of water. I'll swim that in there as well. Just dropping it all in and let it spread. And then when that's dried, in a second or two, in a minute or two, I shall put some trees and field marks, hedges in between fields. A few touches there. There. Now just let that dry for a second. Now actually I'll soften it a little bit more. That's better. And give that a minute or two to dry. Now that's dried sufficiently. It's still damp, but it's dried sufficiently for me to drop the trees and hedges and stuff in. So again, Hooker's green and yellow ochre, but this time a touch stronger. All I'm doing, look, I've changed my number 8 round brush. All I'm doing, a few blobs and lines here and there, very technical. Blobs and lines, dabbing on, and now look, line coming across there, another one here, and some more blobs, and you're just intimating fields, hedges, trees, whatever. A few bits here, isn't that simple? And again, it's like I said with the 3/4 inch brush, one dip practically did all of those hills there at the distance. You'll notice this is the same dip of paint that I started out with for this lot. And that one dip will do the whole lot. But like I say, just intimate stuff. Don't go into detail with it. Blobs up here. More lines coming down. These brushes are Aquafine brushes. Dale Rowney Aquafine, obviously. Just like the paints that I'm using. Dale Rowney Aquafine paint. And look what an amazing job they do. And this is not expensive stuff. This brush, I think, we sell for £2.50. Or is it £3?
Could be £3, I can't
remember. Could be £3. And this one, I use the same brushes for my acrylics as well. So they're good and sturdy and will take lots of hammer. A few touches up there, not many up there. Just a few blobs. And that is the distance done. Very, very simple. Now over to this side and get a bit of the middle distance hilly stuff in. And again, it's Hooker's green and yellow ochre. Fairly weak there. Back to my 3/4 inch brush, look. I only use 4 brushes in total. The 3/4 inch brush, this one. The number 8 round that you've just seen. The big one, 1.5 inch, that I did for my sky wash. and a number 4 rigger. And that's all I use. I'm going to have a little bit of that in there as well. Coming through. And then, in amongst this lot, some just yellow ochre. When I say just, I mean with water, but no other colour. There. Just to drop a bit of light into that lot. And back to green now. Green and yellow ochre. There. And coming around in amongst the wall. Now eventually I'm going to want to give the impression that that goes down there then reappears there. So I want more depth in the bottom. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of ultramarine blue in there. Ultramarine blue because that was the blue of my sky. Don't change your blues throughout the picture. There, look. And that is just blue with water. Now soften it a little bit, just with a clean damp brush. There. And move it up. And I'll leave that for a second now. In the meantime, I'll come across here. And I've got this hooker's green and yellow ochre again. Look, there's my hooker's green. And a lot of yellow ochre into it. But less water this time, it's slightly stronger. There, look, see? Coming down there. And up to that other bit. There. And I'm going to bring that to about there, in the middle distance. And now just drop a few touches of burnt sienna, just burnt sienna. There. Look, you see, that warms up the grass a little bit. Sorry, the grass a little bit. Ding dong. Quite like that. Look at that there. Wash out, squeeze out and soften. Now while all that's still wet, a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue again. Just drop that in between those two bits of green, there. I'm just using the corner of my 3/4 inch brush. A bit there and a bit over there. And again, soften it on the top. And now you see how that blue cuts that from that. Now everything's dried around it, I'm going to pop in this big clump of trees here. And I'm starting off with a little bit of yellow ochre first. Plenty of water. And back to my round brush, by the way, and break round. Pop it in there. Bish bash bosh, just dabbling on. Dabbling on, that's another technical term for you. Like that. Now, stronger, a bit less water into it. For that. Just a few blobs here and there. The light in this one, by the way, eventually, is going to be coming from the right. Now, hooker's green and yellow ochre. There's my hooker's green. Plenty of yellow ochre into it. A bit of water. And drop that in on there. Dib dab dob. And coming up to the yellow ochre there. Just tapping on. That sounds a bit like Bob Ross then, doesn't it?
Did a bit.
Just tapping on. Just popping those little critters down there. Remember, every rock needs a friend. Bit there. Now, hooker's green and burnt sienna. a darker green. Hooker's green, can't see it there. Bit of water, and pop that in there. See, darker green. Hooker's green is a fabulous colour. You can use it to mix every green you need. And those that you haven't watched me before, where have you been, is the first question. But if I take Hooker's green out of the equation of the 8 colours that I use all the time, mix the other 7 in one at a time, I've got 7 different lovely greens. Mix a third colour into some of the mixers, I've got about 5 secondary greens. So I've got 12 different greens for one tube, from one tube. And that's why it was made. For Mr. Hooker in the Victorian times. If you've heard all that before, I'm sorry for boring you. A bit more there, just dabbing on. And down to the ground. These are bushy trees, there's no big amount of boughs and trunks, tree trunks and all that kind of stuff. It's just bushy trees. A bit more of that down here. Taking this up into the lighter stuff that I've already put on. So I'm breaking it all up a little bit. And now tucking it behind the wall. I've got a clump of something there. I'll just squash it in.
Not a fly, is it?
It's not a fly, no. Incidentally, when you're out on location painting, or as some people say, en plein air, when you're doing that sky wash, that's the time when the flies always land. And afterwards, they become birds. Squash it in. A bit more there. Now, just a little bit of burnt sienna by itself, well, with water, but by itself. Just burnt sienna there. And we'll have a few touches of that here and there in amongst the trees. Don't want too much of it, because it will take over. But just dropping a little bit in here and there, it just makes it a bit more natural looking, and also warms it up a little bit. Now, I'm just softening that in. There. That'll do. Now, finally, a little bit of blue. Just ultramarine blue. There. And we'll have that to start with in between the 2 clumps of trees. There. Put it down there. Leave that for a second. Now some here on the dark side of the trees. A bit down here. See what difference the blue makes. It gives more depth, but also it helps you get the shape. Now, wash out, clean out the brush, go back to that bit and soften that up a little bit. Look. There. And again, soften up here. Just on the top bits really, softening it upwards. And a bit there. And those are my clumps of trees in. Now what ties those down to the ground in a minute is the shadow that I'm going to put in. There. Now what I'm going to do, the trees they're not dry, but they're not as wet as they were. So now I'm going to put a little bit of shadow from these, because like I say, the light's coming from the right. A little bit of shadow across onto the ground from these. And that mix is ultramarine blue, because that's the blue of my sky. The lids are on crimson. Just reactivate that. These aquafine paints, you know, they really are good, strong paints. And strictly speaking, they're students' quality paints. But Dale O'Rowney, in their wisdom, saw fit to put natural pigment into students' quality paint. And so they're closer to artist quality. There's a bit of a purple colour there. And like I say, on my website, I think these are, how much are they? £1.80?
180.
£1.80 a tube. They're for nothing. Just dragging a little bit across on the ground from the trees there. Look. Bit of shadow there. I'm bringing that across. You see, that's a dark colour, the shadow mix. But it's got warmth into it because of the alizarin crimson. A bit across here. And make sure that I'm touching the base of the trees with the shadow and then dragging it out. And again here. Bit more here, because again that's going down into the dip. And once more I say, this is the first dip of paint. I haven't dipped in again. The water holding capabilities of these brushes is incredible. Especially when you think its equivalent size sable is about £25 and this is about £3. Big difference. Now, just with a clean damp brush, I'm going to soften that across. Like so. Leave a few bits of light showing as well. With that yellow ochre that I put on earlier. And once that's dried, in a couple of minutes, I'll give it a couple of minutes. Once that's dried, it's time to start on the wall. Now, everything's dried now, it's time to start on the wall. All these grasses will come in afterwards. As you can see from the photograph, there's not really, you can't see individual stones that far away. This bit I'm talking about. You can only see the individual stones really properly when you get into this big foreground bit. So there's no detail in this one, that's what I'm saying. And so I'm using my round brush. I'm starting off with a little bit of Charles Evans sand. The sand is a fabulously useful colour. You can use it for a lightener, put it into any colour you've got, it'll lighten it. Also, as a mixer or as a layering colour, put it down, layer other colours on top of it. It's good for stonework. And then flesh tone, you know how flesh tone is really difficult to mix in watercolour. Sand and light red, you've got flesh tone, easy as that. That's just a bit of sand there. Now, a touch of yellow ochre, a few colours going into this. A few bits at the base there. And while the sand's still wet, if I drop that in, it'll start and bleed together, merge together. Disappear it there. And a few bits on the top here. All with the round brush again. And there. Now, a little bit of raw umber. Raw umber, again, a fabulous mixer. It's taken me a lot of years to get down to the 8 colours that I use mainly. But I use them because I can mix everything I want from them. Just a few bits of raw umber in amongst that lot. And the raw umber, I've got a nice standalone brown with raw umber. Put a touch of blue into it. I've got sepia. Put a touch of burnt sienna into my sepia mix. And I've got Van Dyke brown. Take my raw umber and burnt sienna together, and I've got burnt umber. So I've got 4 different browns. There. And just a few more bits in amongst here. There. And now shadowed side of the wall. Black. Don't use manufactured black. Make it black. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna will give me a nice black. There you go, look. Another way of making black is alizarin crimson and a hooker's green. And you walk into that and just block that in there for the dark side of the wall. Then as I pop it in, just drag a few bits over on the top like that. And again there. Bringing it down to where the grass will go. And again, drag a few bits over. And carrying on up there. You know what I just nearly did then, Gail?
What did you do?
I nearly said, any questions? I'm so used to standing on a stage and talking to people and painting at the same time. And all the time I'm saying, any questions?
You thought there was an audience behind you?
I thought there was. And then I realised it was only you. Oh, God.
I wouldn't dare ask a question.
Imagine my disappointment.
I wouldn't dare question anything.
That's all right. Oh, how
you
come?
know.
That's
As you know.
unusual. Really?
Your word is law.
Oh, God, yes, yeah. I come third after the dogs, as we well know. There. And a few bits just there. Just curling over the top there. There. Middle distance bit of the wall done.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, thank you. Now, I've changed to my 3/4 inch brush. I'm starting off again with the sand. Get that on the top bits there. And bringing it down a little bit. And it's really warm in the studio, so I've got to be quick with this. So bash it on, don't fiddle about, Evans. Now, yellow ochre. A little bit of that, plenty of water into it. Let the colours run and merge, that's lovely. But you notice I'm not filling it all in with yellow ochre, just dabbing it on. Likewise, I didn't fill it all in with the sand either. Now, raw umber. It's the same colours as I've used in the distance, but everything's just getting stronger. Bit of that. Bit of raw umber. You can see the sand showing through. Now black again. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And bash that on. Bash! This is all technical term, by the way. What a mess! But those of you that know me will know exactly what I'm going to do next. Because this is an old hotel room key. And there's some bigger stones there as well as smaller ones, look. All depend on how hard you press on with the card. Longer, shorter, wider, narrower, all with the pressure from the card. Notice I'm not curling the stones downwards as it goes downwards, keep them horizontal. Otherwise, just won't look right. Now on the top bits, a few strokes like that. And now you can see, as I'm scraping along, how it's drying out along here. So I need to finish this off quickly. There. And that's the big bit of the wall done very, very easily. Now with just a little bit of the black mix again, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. There. More burnt sienna, that's better. I'm just going to do a few little bits on the top here. Just drag it around. A few bits here. Diagonal strokes up. And now, just with my finger, I'm just dabbing on, look, digital art. Somebody said on comments recently, I knew exactly what he was going to say. I knew he'd say digital art when he did. Well, in that case, I suggest he stop watching because he's seen too many. There. Now, still with my 3/4 inch brush, I've got these two clumps of rocks here in the foreground. So I'm dropping on with a bit of sand first, like so. And a bit there. Now again, yellow ochre. Exactly the same colours, but everything gets that little bit stronger. There. Bit over here. A little bit of brown, raw umber. Again, stronger. And a little bit of black. And the black, obviously, is going to go more over this side. A little bit in there, bit there, and a few touches here. But the main build-up is on the right, left-hand side. Now, back to the card. Different stroke this time, look. Just stroke in like so. One clump of rocks. And there's another clump. Now, any mucky bits at the bottom, I shall merge in with the grass in a minute. Sorry, the grass. Leave that for a second now. Now, back to my 3/4 inch brush. And it's big bash it on bits now, another technical term. Big bash it on bits, because I've got a big expanse of grasses here. And so I'm starting off again with the big brush with just yellow ochre and water. Bit of that here. Not filling it all in that. This one over here. Just randomly dab a load of yellow ochre on. And I've got two tones of green coming on here as well. Starting off with hooker's green and a lot of yellow ochre. There. Get some of that in here. in amongst the other things. Around my rocks now, it's easy enough to go around things with a sharp edge brush, but I'm leaving bits of the yellow ochre showing through here and there as well. Now the rocks start to stand out. Remember I talked about the mucky bits at the base of the rocks? There. Touch them and they spread, look. More of this. Again, carefully around the rocks. And up to this one. Ready?
Yeah.
And just moving it around again. And remember, of course, this is not the big brush. This is a 3/4 inch brush. When I said big brush, I meant the 3/4 inch brush. And I've just told you that because Gail just told me to tell you. And that's exactly what she said. Remember, it's not the big brush. So now you know.
Just a bit confusing.
Yes, obviously. Leaving bits of yellow ochre showing through here and there. Don't like all that one. White. And this is the other thing as well, you hear this regularly by the experts. Always make sure you mix enough, because you'll never be able to mix that colour again. What a load of rubbish. If you run out, mix some more. It's only 2 colours. Hooker's green, yellow ochre. People make everything sound so difficult and it's just not. Empty water there. And again. Oh look, I've managed to mix the same colour. Amazing. Take that back there. Now I've got Hooker's green and burnt sienna, different darker green. Hooker's green there. Burnt sienna. More burnt sienna and a bit more green. Darker, richer green. And I'm putting that down here to start with. Dabbing on, and again leaving bits of yellow ochre, leaving bits of the under green, the lighter green. I've got lots of colours going on in there. And I'll have it nice and dark near the wall. There's going to be the shadow mix going on there as well, but you need the colour underneath the shadow mix first. Flicking upwards now, look. And like I said, this is a big expansive green, but use the bigger brush, in this case 3/4. Is that alright, Gail?
That's all right.
And cover it quickly. Flicking up there. And when that dries, the shadow can go on there, you see. Give a bit more water into that mix. Oh, having a few flicky bits there as well, look. Now a few flicky bits behind those rocks, like so. I'm going to darken that even more. Hooker's green and burnt sienna again. A bit of water. And flick up from behind there. I'm just pushing in and flick the brush upwards. a few bits there, just flicking. And now I'm going to let all of that dry. Which will only take a couple of minutes. It's very warm in here. And then I'll put the shadow on, final shadow. There we go. Now it's time, all the lot underneath is now dried. Well, dried enough anyway. So now I'm mixing the shadow colour again. Ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson and a touch of burnt sienna. So what I'm making is a dark aubergine colour. And I'm going to start off in that distance bit there, because that wall is going to cast a shadow there. And I'm using the corner of my 3/4 inch brush and just dragging it out across the land, like so. And that clearly says that the light is coming from the right. Like that. As it goes off into the distance. And I'll stop it there. Now a big bit of that shadow coming in here. Touch the wall first and drag it out. And that's very scary because it's very dark. Flick up there. You notice I'm undulating it. That's a technical term, that. A few flicks there. A few flicks there. And now, just with a clean damp brush, soften the edge here into the grasslet. Softening in. And again, a few flicks there. And a little bit from the rocks as well. And that. And now, again, with a clean damp brush, strong that upward slightly, but there. A few flicks there. And a few flicks there. Now still with the shadow mix, but I'm putting a lot more water into it. I'm just going to go through here. And that, especially in this foreground area, and just dull some bits down, just with the shadow, but lots and lots of water in it. Oh, it's dark, but it's not kind of like a dead dark. You know what I mean, girl? Dead dark.
I know what you mean.
Not many people will do that. And now just a little bit over here as well. Just a few touches. There. Do we need a buzzard?
Oh, I can always do a buzzard.
Okay. For once I use my rigger brush. Number 4 rigger brush. Let's have a buzzard. Where do you want buzzard go?
Just in from the right.
Point to it. The everyone out there see your finger?
There.
Okay. A buzzard is just a tick with a stick. There? There?
Yeah, that's fine.
Tick with a stick. Buzzard. You know, I don't like that bit there.
Gone a bit dead.
That's gone a bit dead. I'm going to put some more green in. Hooker's green and burnt sienna. You see? Everybody says, you make it look so easy, don't you make mistakes? Yep, you just seen one. Didn't like that bit. So, more Hooker's green and burnt sienna. I'm just going to have a few took there. That's better, Gail. Look at that. See what I mean?
Yeah.
I told you I was right, didn't I? There, yeah. Like that much more.
Good. If you're happy, we're happy.
Oh, I'm never happy.
No, it's true.
Beg your pardon? There. And now I'll take the tape off and that'll be it done. There we go, tape's off. That's when you get the feel of a finished painting. Once you get a nice white edge all the way around. That's what I've worked from. More or less the same. I changed the colours in the sky a little bit. Changed the light a little bit. But more or less that. The thing is, don't fiddle and don't mess about too much. You've seen how simple that was. Yes, I know it's not simple, but it's not as complex as you might think it is. And a credit card is a very useful thing, especially for stonework. Very few colours and very few brushes. I've got 4 brushes here. The 1.5 inch flat, that's about its original shape there. The 3/4 inch flat, the number 8 round and the number 4 rigger. Aquafine brushes. Fabulous brushes, hold a lot of water and are very sturdy. You can abuse them and split them and everything. They'll always go back to shape. And I use the same brushes for like acrylics as well. The paints I'm using, fabulous. And like I said, they're only £1 each tube, so you can't really go wrong with them. And these are the Aquafine paints, like the Aquafine brushes. There you go. Dale Rowney Aquafine. Fabulous paints. And they're a good strong colour as well, as you can see. The paper I'm using is the Langton Rough, and we sell it in 2 sizes, A3 and A4. Langton Rough. The other thing about this stuff is you can paint on both sides, so there's no wrong side to paint on, because it's internally sized. Both sides are sized.
And there's 12 sheets to a pad.
And there's 12 sheets to a pad. Thank you, Gail. Now, the books, there's lots of books. I've got lots of books out in watercolours. That's the coastal landscape, and that's got the drawings in the back for you to use as well. And boats and harbours. Again, that's got tracings for you to use. You can either use them or not. And the 2 best-selling books are these 2, of course. The Pocket Book, which is everybody's favourite book, and Watercolour Rescue, which basically shows you how to get out of some sticky messes with watercolours. And when you've made a mistake which you think is irreparable, I'll show you how to change it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you want any of this stuff, have a look on charlesevansart.com, and I'll see you soon. Cheerio!